Hello everybody out there watching on YouTube, and welcome to race number 14 of Season 3 NNSCRA Marvel Studios Cup Series. I'm Levi McIntyre, the voice of the NNSCRA Marvel Studios Cup Series, here to welcome you to the Lifelock 400 here at Michigan International Speedway, as we are getting set for 30 laps of racing here at this big 2-mile racetrack. This is the first time since the old Walmart Cup Series days that we have done a race here at Michigan International Speedway, and this should be quite an interesting race considering some of these drivers haven't raced on this racetrack yet. But if they use California Speedway as a template, then they should have no problem. But with that said, let's take a look at how the point standings look coming into the race today. So after last week's rather chaotic and interesting Coca-Cola 600, Charles Sanford leads the points by 16 points over James Qualls. Third is David Rivera, fourth is Emmanuel Hartnett, fifth Dylan Young. Sixth is Peachy London, seventh Dorian Facepuncher, eighth Dylan Jacobs, ninth Zach Flickinger, and 10th is Joshua Sekuli. Currently the wildcard drivers, depending on what happens after today, right now those wildcard drivers still are Chris Dollerton and Rafael Leduc for being the highest outside the top 10, that's in the top 30 in points, with a victory. But then again, anything can still happen. We still got a long way to go before the chase for the championship. But let's take a look at the starting lineup for today. Starting in the last row is David Rivera and Tim Walsh. In the top 10, Dylan Poteet is on the pole for today. Starting next to him is DJ Curtis. Row 2, it's Carl Edwards Central, Rafael Leduc and Carson Gum. Row 3 is Chris Dollerton and Zachary Fitzwater. Row 4, Dylan Jacobs and Dylan Thoreau. And then row 5, Tim Fiegel and Charles Jackson. With that said, let's get the command to fire engines for the Lifelock 400 at Michigan.
Drivers, start your engines!
Apologize for that long bit of silence. I was testing out my mute button on my brand new Blue Yeti microphone, which you are hearing me use for commentary, or at least you have been hearing it being used since the Coke 600, so there you go. Now, originally we were going to go to Coca-Cola Super Speedway, but I did some tests, and basically the race would have been a total cluster, so we decided to go to Michigan this week. But we are still in for quite an interesting race. Now, just like California, pit strategy, I believe, is going to be quite a factor here at this racetrack as the pace car pulls into pit road, and we all know what that means. We're coming to the restart zone, which means it is time to boogity 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 go racing. Well, Dylan Poteet leads lap number 1, but he's got a challenger for the lead. Actually, 2 challengers, Raphael LeDuc and Zachary Fitzwater. Well, Fitzwater thought about making it 3 wide, but decided against it, and now the 99 is trying to use the bottom lane, but it looked like Poteet got the bigger run off of turn 2. But let's see what happens here off of turn 4. Who's going to get the bigger run? Is it the 99 or the 31? Going to helicopter camera to really see for ourselves, and looks like by a slight edge, the bottom gets to run off the bottom, and look at that margin. Imagine if that was the finish. That would have been absolutely an incredible finish. But Raphael LeDuc led that lap, and now he has the run, and maybe here in 3 and 4 he'll clear the 31. As things are really, really close with pretty much every driver in the field, roughly. Yeah, everyone's up here close in like a big pack, so it's almost like as if we're watching a restrictor play race here on a 2-mile racetrack. But right now the 99 just barely hanging on to that lead up against the 31. That time he led by 1/100th of a second. But now Fitzwater seems to want to try going 3 wide for the lead, but is deciding against that. Maybe he's waiting for the right time to really go for it, perhaps. But Chris Dollarton's been hanging strong in the outside line, although he is thinking about, he couldn't quite get there quick enough to try and go for a move underneath the 31 of Poteet. But yeah, the top 2 just almost very much stagnant. Although the 31 got a big run in the middle of the straightaway. I don't know what's going on there, but the 31's got a big run on the outside line. And the 99 starting to lose a little bit of ground. Perhaps maybe as the runs go on, the outside groove gets the big run in 1 and 2, but it seems as if the bottom still gets to run in 3 and 4. But not really much has changed as far as positions up here. They're just racing really, really close together. But now it's 3 wide up here in the front of the field, and the 91 of Zachary Fitzwater is trying to go for the lead, although... Oh, I thought the caution was out because I saw the 91 slow down big time. Don't know as to why that was the case, but now the 31 has definitely cleared the field, so he retakes the top spot as Zachary Fitzwater's trying to clear the 23 of Chris Dollarton for the second position as Raphael LeDuc falls to second in line on the bottom, which right now would be 4th for the time being. But like I said, keep in mind, pit stops will occur at some point during the course of this race. But right now, the 91 of Fitzwater is still trying to figure out a way around the 31 of Poteet. And if he can make it stick, he might have something for the 31. But the 31's going to kind of shut the door on him a little bit. So things remain somewhat stagnant up here at the front of the field. It seems like both lanes are relatively even, so... Oh, and I hear a car into the wall, and I think that was Dylan Young, but he saved it. So I apologize for that quick moment there. Yeah, there he is. He's still up there. Oh, and now we got... Oh, wow, how in the world did they save that? The 00 of Charles Jackson and the 5 of Jay Jefferson nearly crashed and took out a lot of cars, but somehow, someway saved it, and we are still, we are still green as we're getting close to the 1/3 mark of the race, as Poteet still hanging on strong up at the front, but Dollarton's hot on his tail, and Raphael LeDuc trying, but for some reason let off the gas big time there. Maybe there's a bump that they didn't hit before that's in turn 2 that they hit and caused them to slow down big time. But now that has definitely shuffled the field quite a good bit up here at the front. And now Dollarton officially takes second place, and now is looking for the lead underneath the 31 of Poteet. Next time by will have been a third of the way through Fitzwater's trying to get up there into the mix, and here comes Dylan Jacobs, who has been trying to get a good finish ever since the last few weeks. He's had some bad luck, fell to 8th in points after the Coca-Cola 600 after being involved in the only accident of the race under green flag conditions with Rafael LeDuc. But now he's up here towards the front, and now he's actually maybe thinking about challenging for the lead. Poteet and Dollarton fight it out at the line, and it looked like Poteet led that lap, but Dollarton hanging in strong on the bottom. Let's watch the mile per hour rating and see if that slow up happens. And not too much, although the outside line definitely got the bigger run by about a mile or two, 1 or 2 miles per hour. But anyways, Poteet up here at the front as we're getting close to the halfway point as I'm trying to actually look around. Yeah, Charles Jackson has definitely sustained big-time damage after getting up into the wall from something that happened with him and Jay Jefferson. But Jay Jefferson, he's still hanging in strong in the pack, running up to speed. So not too bad for the 5. Meanwhile, up here at the front, some cars are slowing down. I think this is pit stops about to occur. And the first cars that are going to come in are Jonathan Zorling, Dylan Jacobs, James Qualls, among many others. There's Ashland Boyd coming in, and I thought I heard something happen. No, we're still green. Poteet still leads, but there's a battle for second. DJ Curtis is up here, and he's trying to go by the 23 of Dollarton, but Dollarton just gets that gigantic run off the high line. Although it looks like everyone relatively up here is about to slow down to come into pit road. Except for right now, 4 cars stay out. Matt Haas, Trent Dunham, Sean Galligan, and Zachary Fitzwater all have elected to stay out an extra lap. There's Jay Jefferson, who's got some slight right side damage after he made that contact with the 00 early on. But yeah, these are the 4 stragglers right now who are who have yet to pit. Galligan, Fitzwater, Dunham, and Haas. Let's see if they all elect to come in together. Let's see, and yes, they are. So it looks like they will have to pit in between laps 24 and 28 for their second pit stops, but looks like Zorling got out first of the first group of cars that came into the pits, but we're going to try and see if we can find Poteet. And there he is, along with Dollarton and Fiegel. Excuse me. So it's a question of who's going to cycle as the leader. As I'm looking, the mile per hour rating's 15 miles per hour difference, but I do think Poteet does cycle around out of the first two groups. But now we gotta see about the 91 and the 44, as these guys stayed out last. It's gonna be close. Perhaps not. I think the 31 is gonna go around, and he indeed does. So Poteet cycles back around as the top dog in the race, but Dollarton is right there on his tail. But now, thanks to those pit stops, the field has gotten spread out a little bit more, which is going to make for some interesting strategy. When we cross the line right here, we'll be halfway through, so we'll try and do a full field rundown. Dylan Poteet has the lead, but Chris Dollarton's about to try and take it. Third is Dylan Jacobs. Fourth, Jonathan Zorling. Fifth is Sean Galligan. Sixth, Trent Dunham. Seventh, Matt Haas. Eighth is Zachary Fitzwater. Ninth, Rafael LeDuc. 10th is Paul Minnick. 11th is Chris Michaels. 12th is Phil Parker. 13th is Tim Fiegel. 14th, Charles Sanford. 15th, DJ Curtis. 16th, Austin LaPlante. 17th, Jessica Sheldon. 18th, James Qualls. 19th, David Rivera. 20th, PJ Williams. 21st is Ashlyn Boyd. 22nd is William Brock. 23rd, Tim Walsh. 24th is Andrew Rich, I believe. Yeah, 24th, Andrew Rich. Well, now that's Matt McIntyre. 25th, Andrew Rich. 26th, Joshua Sekuli. 27th, Carson Gum. 28th, Seth Cole. 29th, Emmanuel Hart. And at 30th is Johnny Gardner. 31st, Preston Plord. 32nd, Zach Flickinger. 33rd is Dylan Thoreau. 34th, Benjamin Miles. 35th, James McLeod. 36th is Pichu London. 37th, Mark Lane. 38th, Dorian Facepuncher. 39th, Dylan Young. 40th, Jake Rogers. 41st, Jay Jefferson. And then 42nd, and about to become a lapped car, is Charles Jackson. And now we got a new leader, Jonathan Zorling in the 88. Zorling in the 88 has the lead, but now they're on the back bumper of Charles Jackson, and I got a feeling this might end up causing, yeah, we are seeing the rest of the field catch up to the top 4 now. So now this race is about to get really crazy. And now the rest of the field is officially caught back up to the top 4. So now we're back to where we were relatively early on. Dollarton ended up getting the short end of the stick in that incident. And now Poteet's got the big run on the bottom underneath the 88. Can he clear him off of 4? He does. He does get him cleared. So now the 31 of Poteet retakes the top spot on track as a battle for seconds about to rage on, as here comes Minnick. Dylan Jacobs getting forced up high, and now he's going to lose several positions. Possibly, and now Minnick actually goes to the lead. And look at Charles Sanford. Oh, I thought I saw something there. Oh, it was Jackson who got up into the wall and because of slowing up other cars caused a little mess up here. But Paul Minnick has the lead, but look at the points leader. Charles Sanford up here in second, and he started, I believe he started in the back of the field. And now he's up here about to challenge for the lead. Here comes Austin LaPlante in the 48, and this will actually be, it is officially confirmed now as of Monday, the day before I recorded this, which was Tuesday. It was effective that on Monday, the January 8th, Austin LaPlante, after Season 3, will not be returning in Season 4. So this is LaPlante's farewell season. And he will actually end up being replaced by an old Walmart Cup Series driver who's going to be a rookie next season, Alex Ferranti. But meanwhile, Phil Parker now takes the top spot. And PJ Williams in the number 89 MJS Concrete Incorporated Toyota for Joe Gibbs Racing, who's a go-or-go homer. He's up here in the front. And now we're seeing a couple of the guys that we saw up front early on, Rafael LeDuc, try and make a comeback. This time by, it'll be 8 to go, and there's Jay Jefferson, who is slightly off the pace. So now we're going to see what happens when they catch up to him. And here comes the 89 for the lead. The 5 isn't presenting as big of a problem as the 00 of Jackson was. And speaking of which, where is he? There he is, and still got a few stragglers running elsewhere. But now the 89 has officially taken the top spot on track. But the 48 of LaPlante isn't going to give up quite just yet, but we are approaching that point of the race where they're going to have to make their second round pit stops, that is. And you got to wonder who's going to try and stay out for the longest time in order to get a lot of track position, because that's going to be key here in the final laps. Who's in what position at what point in time. 48 has the lead, but here comes the 9 of Minnick back up here. And here comes Matt Haas in the 77, who we haven't talked about all day. He's now up here in the mix. LeDuc is also there, but he might get challenged by the 12 of Parker. So now it's 3 wide for, looks like, the 4th position for the time being. Looking around to keep an eye out for any potential stragglers that these cars might catch up to before pitting. Oh, but cars are slowing down. This means, yes, it is time for our final rounds of pit stops. And Paul Minnick sacrifices the lead and hands the lead over to the 77 of Matt Haas. And I saw P.J. Williams scrape the wall off of turn 4, and that cost him big time. And look at Chris Michaels up here towards the front of the field right now in the 6th position. And he's had a lot of bad luck as of late. He's trying to get a good finish, or perhaps even the win, so he can be in the hunt for a wild card spot. Wow, nearly contact between teammates, Jefferson and LaPlante. But LaPlante and Haas stay out. Poteet's going to stay out. Sanford, Fitzwater, Galligan. Some of the cars who pitted earlier than others are trying to see how much they can stretch it. Looking around to see how things are playing out up here with the cars that have yet to come into pit road. But Matt Haas right now has the lead, but it looks like he's slowing down to get ready to come into pit road. And indeed he is. Same with LaPlante and Jefferson, although Galligan's going to try and risk it and stay out. Imagine if Sean Galligan can save up enough gas. If I was him, I would start saving, because everyone else is essentially just coming out of pit road or getting on pit road. So if I were Galligan, I would try and save up as much as I can and try and stay out for the rest of the race in hopes of getting your first win this season. But I don't know if the 44 is going to be able to do that. Let's see him. Watching his speeds. Nope, he is coming in. I thought he was going to try and save enough, but couldn't quite make it work. And I think if everything works out in the favor of the guys who pitted, Rafael LeDuc could take the race lead. Because I see him ahead of quite a lot of drivers, but we're going to have to try and keep our eyes out on the 77 of Matt Haas, because he was a guy who stayed out and was the leader. Oh man, things are going to get interesting. And we're coming to the white flag here very, very soon, but I think Galligan still scored as the leader, so we're not on the last lap quite just yet. But I got a feeling that the 77, yes, indeed the 77, has the race lead officially. And he's got a huge gap, and he's also got a lap car, Dylan Young, in between him. Actually, 2 lap cars in between himself and potentially Galligan in the second. But he might end up getting bypassed by quite a few cars. Man, pit strategy comes into favor for the 77 of Matt Haas as the white flag is out. Is it official? Yes, Matt Haas has the lead. And he's got a 4-second lead over Fitzwater, so basically all the 77 has to do is just keep his car clean, and he's basically the winner. Final battle for second. Fitzwater and LaPlante trying to go at it. Looking around to keep an eye out for anybody else. Things are getting really interesting from second on back, but checkered flag is about to wave. First win of the season. Matt Haas wins the Lifelock 400 at Michigan. Pit strategy worked out well for the 77. He stayed out in the third group of cars and managed to get a fast enough stop to keep himself up at the front and win here at Michigan. Pit strategy kind of came in the favor big time for the 77. And what a great win that was for that team, no doubt. But let's look at the rest of the results. Zachary Fitzwater comes through with a unbelievable run in the second position. Austin LaPlante gets a great run in the third spot. Rafael Leduc, who was in desperation to try and get a good finish to keep himself up in the top 30, he comes through in fourth. Sean Galligan's strategy almost worked out for a potential win, but still comes through with a great run in fifth, and that could put him back up into the top 30 in points potentially. Phil Parker comes through in the sixth position. David Rivera with a solid run in the seventh spot. James Qualls, great run in the eighth position. Right behind him, teammate Jessica Sheldon in ninth, and then Dylan Jacobs, great run in the 10th position. The rest of the top 20 was Chris Dollerton, Paul Minnick, Trent Dunham, Chris Michaels, Charles Sanford, Jonathan Zorline, Dylan Poteet, who was one of the dominant cars of the day, comes through in that spot. Benjamin Miles, Seth Cole, Ashwin Boyd. The rest of the top 30 was Joshua Sekuli, William Brock, Matt McIntyre, Johnny Gardner, Preston Plord, Dylan Thoreau, DJ Curtis, Emmanuel Hartnett, Tim Walsh, and Carson Gum. The rest of the lead lap cars were Pichu London, Tim Fiegel, Andrew Rich, Zach Flickinger, PJ Williams, James McLeod, Mark Lane, Dorian Facepuncher, and Jake Rogers. Everybody else finished a lap or more down. Dylan Young, Jay Jefferson, and Charles Jackson. Well, that does it for our coverage here today at Michigan International Speedway. And man, what a race it was. A lot of passing going on towards the front. Pit strategy came out big in the end, and it made for a great race. So we're definitely coming back later in the season. But the next race we go to, back to a road course, Sonoma Raceway for the Toyota Save Mart 350. But until then, here are your results, rookie points and regular points heading into Sonoma. And this is Levi McIntyre signing off.